Ever wonder if that special girl just can't get you out of her head? Discover the powerful, unmistakable signs she's constantly thinking about you and how to make her yours forever. All right, let's get into the details, because once you understand these signs, everything changes. You'll know if she's really thinking about you constantly, and trust me, these are the signs you don't want to miss. Now, let's start with one of the simplest yet most telling signs that a woman has you on her mind. She reaches out to you seemingly at random, and I mean out of nowhere. Maybe you get a text in the middle of the day, a little DM on social media, or even a quick hi as she crosses paths with you. Think about it. If she's going out of her way to start a conversation or find a reason to connect, that's a pretty clear sign you're on her mind. Women don't just reach out randomly. If you're getting these out-of-nowhere texts or she's bringing up a small random detail just to spark a conversation, that's a big indicator. She's not sending those messages because she has nothing better to do. She's doing it because she's been thinking about you and wants to see if you're thinking about her too. Now, speaking of doing things for you, that brings us right to sign 2. She does thoughtful things for you that she doesn't need to do. This could be anything: a small act of kindness, a thoughtful gesture, or even just helping out when she really didn't have to. Maybe she brings you a coffee one morning because she knows you had a late night, or she offers to help you with a project at work. Women are natural nurturers, especially when they're interested in someone. So if she's going out of her way to be kind and considerate toward you, that's no accident. Thoughtful gestures don't just happen, they come from a place of caring and interest. When a woman likes you, she will naturally look for ways to make your day a little easier, a little brighter, and a little better. So pay attention to those small acts of kindness, because they're often more than just nice gestures. They're ways of saying, "Hey, I care about you, and I'm here for you." Let's talk about sign 3. She seems to be around you a lot. You're at work or maybe hanging out at a friend's party, and somehow she's always close by. Whether it's where she parks, the spot she chooses to sit, or even which events she shows up to, it seems like she's always in your orbit. Now, this doesn't mean she's stalking you. Nothing creepy here. It just means that if she's into you, she's naturally going to gravitate toward you. Think of it like this. If you're interested in someone, you'd want to be close to them, right? You'd want to bump into them, maybe have a chance to chat, or even just let them notice you. That's what's happening here. If she's constantly finding herself near you, there's a strong chance it's intentional. This is her way of being available without being too forward. So if you're noticing that she's always around, that's a good sign she's been thinking about you and wants to be close enough to keep that connection going. Now let's get into sign 4, and this is a big one. She remembers little details about you. This is one of those powerful signs that she's constantly thinking about you because, let's be real, we don't remember every little detail about everyone in our lives. But when someone's important to us, we remember things. So if she recalls something you mentioned in passing, like your favorite band, your favorite place to grab a coffee, or even a story about your childhood pet, that's no coincidence. It's because you've been on her mind. She's not only listening to what you say, but she's holding on to those details because they matter to her. When a woman is truly interested in you, she'll pay close attention to the things that make you unique. And later, she might casually bring them up in conversation, not to make a big deal out of it, but to show you that she was listening and that what you say matters to her. So if you find that she remembers those little things, that's one of the biggest signs she's been thinking about you. And that leads us right to sign 5. She talks about you with others. Now, this might sound subtle, but if your name comes up in conversations she has with mutual friends, it's definitely a sign that you're on her mind. It could be as simple as her mentioning something funny you said, or even asking friends about your weekend plans. When you're thinking about someone a lot, it's hard not to bring them up, even if it's just in passing. And if you hear from friends that she's been talking about you, it means you've been on her mind even when you're not around. People don't casually mention others unless they're genuinely interested or intrigued. So this is a clear signal that her thoughts keep circling back to you. And it's exciting because it means she's thinking about you even when you're not right there. Moving on to sign 6, a classic body language sign. Her feet are pointing toward you. This might sound strange at first, but hear me out. Our bodies tend to align with what we're interested in, especially when we're around someone we like. So, if you're with a group and notice her feet are pointing in your direction, it's a subconscious signal that she's focused on you. Even if she's talking to someone else, her feet might be turned toward you, showing her interest without her even realizing it. Body language is one of the most honest forms of communication because we don't always have control over these subtle movements. When someone's feet are directed toward you, it's often a sign that they're anchored to you, meaning you're the focal point of their attention. So watch her feet. If they're facing you, chances are her thoughts are facing you too. Now, let's look at sign 7, and this one is almost like a confession. She admits that she's been thinking about you. Now, don't expect her to come right out and say, "I've been thinking about you all day." Instead, this will usually show up in casual comments like, "Oh, I saw this and thought of you," or "I heard a song you mentioned and thought you'd love it." These small comments aren't as small as they might seem. When she brings you up in that way, she's giving you a glimpse into her mind, showing that you've been there recently. You don't just randomly think of someone unless they mean something to you. If she's making a point to share those moments, it's her way of letting you know that you've been on her mind without being too direct. And trust me, if she's sharing these thoughts with you, she's thinking about you a lot more than she's letting on. Another powerful sign she's been thinking about you comes in sign 8. She's curious about your life and asks a lot of questions. This isn't just polite small talk. When a woman is genuinely interested in you, she'll want to know the details of your life. She'll ask questions about your day, your family, your interests, or maybe even what your dreams and goals are. This level of curiosity goes beyond the surface because she's trying to understand who you really are. The more she learns about you, the more invested she becomes. And if she's asking questions, she's also opening the door for you to ask her questions back, creating a two-way street of genuine connection. Her curiosity isn't accidental, it's intentional, and it's one of the strongest signs that she's thinking about you constantly. Now, this next one is big, especially if you're looking for signs of lasting interest. Sign 9. She finds ways to be supportive or help you in small ways. Maybe she's offering to lend a hand with a project, or she's cheering you on before a big presentation. When a woman likes someone, she naturally wants to be supportive and encouraging. She wants to be there for you, even if it's in the smallest way. These gestures may seem casual, but they're her way of showing you that she cares and that she's invested in your happiness and success. It's also her way of creating a positive connection, making you associate her with encouragement and support. So if she's there for you, cheering you on or helping out, it's because she genuinely cares, and that caring comes from constantly thinking about you. And let's talk about sign 10, the way she reacts when she sees you. If she lights up, her face softens, or she seems just a little extra happy whenever you're around, that's a telltale sign you're on her mind. Women don't always show excitement openly, but there are subtle signs, maybe a slight blush, a little extra laughter, or a quick smile that's just for you. If she's happy to see you, that happiness comes from a place of anticipation, meaning she's been thinking about what it's like to be around you. And those thoughts create excitement, and which she might not even be able to hide. So pay attention to her expression when you walk in the room. If her mood brightens, it's because you're someone she's been looking forward to seeing. Finally, we reach sign 11, one of the more obvious but often overlooked signs. She initiates conversations about the future. Now, this doesn't mean she's planning a wedding in her head, but if she's making casual comments about events down the line, maybe hinting that she'd like to go to a concert with you, or asking about your future travel plans, it's because she's imagining you in her future. People don't make future plans with someone unless they hope to keep them around. If she's talking about things she'd like to do with you down the road, She's already seeing you as someone significant in her life. That's a huge sign she's been thinking about you constantly, not just for the present moment, but as someone she wants to build memories with. When you put all these signs together, they paint a picture that's hard to ignore. If she's reaching out, showing kindness, and finding ways to be close, it's not just chance, it's because you've made an impression, and she's thinking about you more than you realize. Each of these signs, while small on their own, are powerful when they come together. If you're seeing 2, 3, or even more of these, then it's time to take the next step. Make your move and let her know you're interested too. Don't miss out on a chance to turn these signs into something real.